Welcome to the Underground Crypto Deep Dive Show. A lot of people think their crypto problem is that they picked the wrong coins. But sometimes the real issue is how they built their portfolio in the first place. Because if you build it backwards, it doesn't matter what you pick. And there's a lot of ins and outs of why your portfolio could be not performing well from the bottom into the bull market. We believe there is a high chance that we have found a bottom here in the bull market. Now, we could always be wrong. We could see 45,000, 40,000, 35,000. We just don't know yet. Hindsight is 2020, but we are doing our best here at the Deep Dive Research Show to stay on top of what is trending and all the different facets from airdrops to some TA and do our best to find every opportunity that we can. Let's kick this one off, guys. Let's kick this one off. Where are all my people at? And let's hop on into it. How's everybody doing? I'm ready to go again. Yesterday we went 4.5 hours. We chased that pump all night. It was a lot of fun and a lot of TA. Sunny little tree in the house. What's up? Melissa in the house. Says liked and loaded. I think he means locked and loaded, boys and girls. I believe that is a typo. Cool. All right, let's kick it off here. We're just getting started at the Underground Crypto Deep Dive Show. Let me know if the microphone's too hot or the music's too loud, any of that jazz. Otherwise, we're just going to kick right into it. Let's toggle our 1 through 1,000 real quick. So it looks like 100 to 200 had a 2.5 increase today overall, and 1 to 100 0.22, so not a lot. And we could see that here with Psy up 6.4%, Pengu up 6.4%, and Meme Core up 4.1% for a high of $4.58, chilling at $4.49. So Meme Core doing all right. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. A lot of people feel like it's in the category with Rave and some other ones that have just pumped. Siren over here get a negative 11% on the day. DXC negative 5.7% on the day. And they feel like Meme Core is coming down. Oh, he says liked and loaded. Oh, I get it. My bad, man. My bad. I got you. Well, let's go down to 100 to 200 because it seems to have the most action here. Rave lost another 39% today, down to 92 cents. I mean, we had a high of $26.77, and now we're trading at 92 cents. That is one heck of a drop. I hope you guys are staying safe out there. Streamed like, yeah, that's what I thought. He says, Teresa Young says, what the F did oil just do? Looks like a nice entry. We don't follow oil too closely here on this stream. This is the Underground Crypto Deep Dive Research Show, but I would look at it for you if you wanted me to, I guess. Why not? Thank you for coming in. Smash that like button. Subscribe is a personal choice, right? But there is a link to our free Discord in the chat where you could come over. I can't guarantee that it will always be free, right? Wink, wink. But I will probably grandfather in everybody who was already there. Asteroid, 25% to the upside. Stark, 19.8%. Fluid, 15%. A lot of big movers in this 100 to 200 by market cap region. Piverse up 22%. UB up 41%. And Chip up 115%. Let's take a look at that. From 5 cents to 12.5 cents. It looks like it is doing good, and it is holding. Like, it is still pumping up to, I guess, price discovery, right? Yeah, this is a new coin. It's got to be price discovery. This is USD.AI. We looked at it. It was a very interesting coin. Is this the next Rave? It very well could be. We will talk about that when we get into the what is trending. He said, you should, has everything to do with crypto. I don't disagree with you. Don't get me wrong. Oil, the markets, they all go very hand in hand. So I'm not trying to say that oil has no place here on the stream. I'm just saying it's not something we normally look at, right? Like, we don't normally come in here and look at the QQQ or the NASDAQ or any of those type of things on a regular basis. But we're all about our people, crypto family here. We're very tight-knit. So if somebody comes in, they want me to look at something, give me a ticker. Where do you like to look at oil at? What ticker do you normally look at? 40K BTC is back on the table. Yeah, I would say it was never not on the table. I would also say there's a good chance that we have bottomed. Traditionally, as long as I've been in crypto, BTC tends to not give people that bottom price that they were looking for, right? I remember when it went to 15K, and a lot of people really thought they were going to get an 8 to 10K BTC. They were setting orders, and it never happened. So all I know is the fact of my own ignorance, if you know what I'm talking about. All right, we usually only go down as far as 200 to 300. Spark, the big winner here today. I bought $50 of this Spark coin a long time ago when it was hot to see if it would do anything. And then we fell into some hard times in the market. So I probably am not even to break even, but it's up 36.7%. Ban or Comedian up 12%. White up 13.8%. Axelar, it is Axelar, right? Yes, it is. And it is up 9.8%. We have this MBG by Multibank Group. It is down in this UAI Unify with the AI at the end network. He says hype. Well, 28K is where they are looking. Yeah, and I'm sure. Win 8K, bro. Yeah, BTC to 8K right now would be something. It would be something, wouldn't it? All right, let's hop over and do our rundown of the prices. Let's refresh it so I give you guys the latest. And 2.7 trillion. The whole market cap up 1.9% today. As you roll down the top 100 and you look at the 7-day, a lot of green. A lot of green there. And the ones that are red are pretty small. Hyperliquid with the 8%. pullback in the last 7 days, but it's gotten a lot of pump here lately. So BTC, $78,484 at this moment. I tried to take a little long on it. I was busy. I was doing a lot of things I wasn't paying, so I had really tight stop loss. I got hit on the stop loss, and I said, I got a whole stream to do. I'll evaluate BTC again there. We traded BTC for like 4.5 hours yesterday, or the stream was 4.5 hours. We traded it most of the end of the stream, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of pump. Said I remember, said I got in at 16.8K. Good for you. Good for you, Teresa. That is awesome. All right. Ethereum, $2,376. XRP, $8.43. BNB, $639. Solana, $87. Dogecoin, a little higher than 9.5 cents. I hold some Doge from the previous cycle, so I'd love to see that thing do some numbers. Hyperliquid is $41.17. Cardano, 24 cents. Really 25 cents, 0.249, so just a tick away, a couple ticks away from being 25 cents. Monero, $367. Chainlink, $9.30. Let me not misspeak. XLM, 17 cents, a high 17 cents. Canton, 15 cents, 15.5 cents, we'll call it. Memecore falling down to number 21 by market cap, but it's at $4.50, up 58.8% in the last 7 days, so I really can't be too mad at that. Zcash, $315. Avalanche, $9.32. SWE, 94 cents, still under $1. It's on sale to me. And from there, that's usually where we end. And then come down, see where Flare is, number 85 by market cap. Shout out to Blues Guy, the king of Flare, at least in our group he is. And let's go to highlights, see what is trending. Let me see this chat. Reliable J in the house showing off those custom emojis. I made a few custom emojis. And we do a members only stream at the end of the stream, right? Then we go into the members only stream. If you'd like to be a part of the members only stream, you have to purchase the membership, right? It's $3 a month. If you don't think I'm worth $3 a month, then you don't get to come to the members only stream. That is just how it works. Chip is trending, of course. It's up 112% in the last 24 hours. Rave Dow trending for probably all of the wrong reasons. 7 Day says it's down 91.8% at this point. Asteroid, right? Asteroid has been just blasting here into the atmosphere and out of that. Yeah, not out of the atmosphere. I guess an asteroid be coming into the atmosphere, right? So 800.4 thousand%. It went absolutely nuts. If you caught any little piece of that, congrats to you. BTC, Pudgy Penguins, I say every day, it's always trending. Strongest NFT play in the game. If you wanted an NFT type project in your portfolio, I don't really see any other options besides Pudgy Penguins, to be honest with you. But I still regret switching from ETH at 4.7K into Sol around $4. Really? Okay. Should hype reach for liquidity at $36.5? I'm not too sure. We're going to get to the part where we do some TA here in a minute, right? Aave, Aerodrome, Zebek Network, Spark. I dropped a pre-made video, a long-form content video. I dropped a couple of them. There were two. One of them was Zebek and the founders, getting to know the founders, the people behind the project. Go check that out on your own time if you'd like. Spark, back on the radar. Solana, XRP, Stark Network, BitTensor, Ethereum, and Make Aliens Great Again. It says that it's down a little bit, but from where I bought in, I was still up. I guess I'd have to go look at it right now. A lot of people were saying it looked like it was head and shouldering out and it was going to come down. We'll see. I was kind of in it for the long haul. Let's see how long it can hold attention and see how long it can do something. I'm really hoping to see it go to like 500 million market cap or something like that. Do they give us the market cap? Yeah, they do. It's the last number here. Right now, it's only at 18.6 million. So I'd love to see it go to a couple 100 million, maybe 500 million, and really stack up the gains there. That would be amazing. So I guess the first thing we need to talk about is Chip, right? And this is Chip, but it's also USD.ai. That is the website here. 247.6 million in market cap, supply 10 billion, 2 billion in circulation. And let's take a look at it on more like the last 7 days. 7 days ago, it was trading at 0.059. Now we're at 12 cents. And it looks like it is just still going. And it is on Arbitrum, Ethereum, and Base. Arbitrum and Base obviously are layer 2s of Ethereum. So this is all Ethereum ecosystem type stuff. And to Teresa Young, if you want to just hold off on some of those TA questions, and we can look at those when we get to the TA section, which is coming up in just a minute. Let's go to the website here for Chip and take a look at it. So this is USD.ai, right? You'll see that always kind of tied to the ticker. It says the dollar that builds AI wherever it forms. So that tells us right off the bat that this is a financial instrument kind of thing. So capital for builders outside the mega fund circle. Yield drawn from their machine-backed credit. So backed by the future, that sounds great, right? Unlike typical stablecoins backed by fiat or crypto volatility, USD AI is collateralized by the physical backbone of the AI revolution, high-performance GPUs and computer infrastructure. So I guess they're saying that their stable coin is backed by GPUs and computer infrastructure. Are we bullish on that? Does that fluctuate a lot? Do we see that coming down in value or only going up in value? That is something I guess you have to kind of think about, right? Smart exit via QEV. All right. We help scale companies globally. So to me, I get the vibe that this is really for the big players here. This is a big players who they're catering to, which makes sense. That's where all the money is, right? Let's get back to where we were. And let's take a look at something else that is trending here. Of course, Asteroid has been getting a lot of attention for the last couple of days. 185.1 million in market cap. And you can see that it just took off here from about 0.00003. Seems redundant to say it like that. And now we are all the way up to 0.0004. So it took off a zero, that's for sure. Ethereum contract, right? Is it time for memes on Ethereum to get some attention? I don't know. Tags are just meme. Let's see, it has one more dog themed. There you go. So it's a dog themed meme coin. Who's ever heard of one of those before? And it is up a lot just in the last 7 days. Max, go to the max chart, and it's just pretty much straight up, right? 420 billion, 420.6 billion, and it's got all of that in the circulating supply, so it is 100% vested. So you wouldn't be looking for a lot of coins to come out or any coins to come out and dilute your value here. Typical meme coin type stuff, in my opinion. That's not unexpected in a meme coin. A lot of other projects leave some coins to come out because of the tokenomics and things like that. If you don't understand tokenomics, I believe that's highly important. So when we're going through what's trending, of course, we're trying to stay on top of what's trending, but also we're looking for coins that maybe we don't know a whole lot about. So we got Zebek Network. I think a lot of people know Zebek Network, right? Or Zebekin, as I like to call it, from the ticker, or ZBCN. 287.6 million in market cap. Max chart says that it came out back around like April 14th, 2024. We saw this big run here from about 0.0009, that is 0.3 zeros, then a 9, all the way up to 0.006. And then it kind of has this big falling wedge kind of vibe. Maybe it's breaking out. Looks like a shoulder and then another head, and then maybe we get another shoulder before we start moving to the upside. That is speculation. So is the whole market. And we got 100 billion tokens in the max supply, 97.9 billion in the circulating supply. So still not a whole lot of tokens to come out there, but a few. And then it's got DeFi, real world asset, payment solution, DPIN, and then a bunch of portfolios that it's in, made in the US, RWA protocol. Let's go to their website here. Now, I did kind of a whole deep dive, right? And they built this super app, which is kind of cool, which is going to be DeFi. Of course, you can log your wallet in. Looks like I'm already logged in somehow. I don't know how that worked. And you can see your assets. Here's the dashboard. Okay, I didn't mean to click cards. I want to go to staking, right? You can stake it here. Let's see. Do they tell you what the APY is? It's a 3% APY. So with a low APY like that, I would think it was pretty safe. How we doing on the chat? All caught up on the chat. Then it says streaming. They want me to verify. I don't feel like doing that right now. We'll move along. Just kind of wanted to show you what they had going on as far as DeFi, right? Where real time meets real world. Stablecoin payroll and seamless PayFi in motion. I know that they really heavily focus on payroll, right? A lot of businesses, all the businesses pretty much have payroll. And that seems like a good market to maybe go after, because when I think about what I want to put my money in, if I can understand how the money is going to flow into the business, right? Because a lot of people want to think of cryptocurrencies like currencies because we use that word. And many older people have asked me, why do we need all of these different currencies? I think that's the wrong way to look at it. Look at them like startup companies, right? They're startup companies just like you would have startup companies that are stocks, right? These are startup companies in the world of crypto. So Zebek is helping create a future where money and value moves freely in all aspects of our economy, from payroll to investments in everyday expenses. So I think you get the idea here. I don't want to spend too much time on a project I think a lot of people know. Let's look at Spark though, because Spark was around for a while and it was definitely catching some buzz, but then it kind of fell off, right? So you can see it came out back here at June 16th, 2025. We were live streaming. I definitely covered this when this coin came out, and then it hit a massive run here. Let's see, a little bottom, maybe 0.03. So 3 cents all the way up to 17.5 cents, call it. And then really just back down under even those lows that we had before. And it's been pretty flat until just now, where it is starting to really take off. I hope it does well. I bought $50 of it at the time, thought I might try to load into more, and then it just kind of did nothing, and I didn't want to buy a dead coin. 104.6 million in market cap, 10 billion max supply, circulating supply 2.5 billion, so a lot to come out. But if you come down here, you would also see an outstanding supply. So these are coins that have been minted, right, but haven't necessarily been distributed yet. So they're not completely in the circulating supply, but we know that they've been minted on chain. And you have Sky farming users, right? They take up a big chunk of that. And it is Ethereum contract exclusively. So you got Spark.fi, categories DeFi, of course, lending and borrowing, stablecoin issuer. Of course, it is the governance token for Spark.fi. And this is the Web 2 facing. You'll come to a website. It's like the Web 2 website, right? Most people would be familiar with. And then you have OpenSpark, which would be like the Web 3 version where everything that is really DeFi would live. Institutional grade savings, earn on the assets you deposit. USDC, USDT, PYUSD, and then a bunch of other stuff. I'm not going to sit there and read all of those. Kind of pointless. So let's open it up. Here is the DeFi part of it. You got Spark Lend, connect your wallet up here. When you see connect your wallet, you should know that you are in a Web3 type of scenario. Camsta says, Ayo, welcome in, Camsta. Easy borrow. I'm glad that we sorted out that you've been talking to a fake underground on the Discord. I'm sorry about that. I had no idea that was going on, but now you got the real guy. So if it ain't that profile, it ain't that chat, you ain't got the right guy. So you got Sparkland, let's toggle it. You got borrow stable coins, my portfolio in the market. And then of course you have Spark token, which you can stake, farm, and use for governance. And then of course they have a swap as well. Every good DeFi tool should have a swap, right? That makes it very easy to work within their ecosystem. And then you got points, rewards, notifications, and the farm. Let's go to the farm real quick. Let's check that out. So 6.6 APY for staking Spark. Cool. Spark reminds me a lot of Flare. I'm not saying that they're really the same thing necessarily. Spark with a much smaller, I think, ecosystem than Flare has, I would say. Let's see what's going on. I was like, this ain't underground, no way. Yeah, you should know me by now. Yeah, the thing is, I had a chat history with him going back at least a month. So I was like, no way, man, I'm sorry to hear that. I'd much rather you be talking to me than some random who's probably trying to scam you in some way. So stake Spark to help secure Spark ecosystem and earn Spark points, right? Pretty typical DeFi stuff. They have a little diagram that shows you here, right? So you have Sky token. It flows into Spark. So you can closely associate Sky with Spark. And as it flows into Spark, it goes into all of these different places. Spark Lind, Aave, which is a touchy subject right now, Morpho, and Athena. And I just wanted to show this kind of graph thing that they have. Well, it's not a graph, but this little indicator of where the money flows within its ecosystem, what is connected to it. All right, let's move on. Now let's go back to what is trending, see if there's anything else we need to go over, and then we're going to move into more of like some TA, right? We're going to do some TA on some different things. He was like, I have this new indicator that greatly improves my trading. Yeah, there you go. He was trying to sell you something, right? And then we have these make aliens great again. And I'm going to pull it up on my phone. I bought $25 of it just so I could hang out with the cool kids in the bankroll trading tab that we have in the Discord. I figured let's go ahead and just grab $25 of it and see if we can hit a moonshot here. It's got the juice, right? It's got the sauce. My $25 is worth $29, so I can't really be too mad about that, right? But at the same time, it hasn't really taken off yet. Oh, just switched to $31. I think I've seen it as high as like $35 or $38 worth of value there. So at least we're up on it. I can't be too mad about that. So 20.5 million in market cap. It's got a Solana pump.fun contract here. We have a website, of course, which we'll come back to in a minute. Why do we go there? No, we don't want to go there. So let's go to the max chart. This thing looks like it came out around April 18th, 2026. It's had a few days to just absolutely take off. I don't spend a lot of time personally scanning Dex Screener for meme coins because it just hasn't been the time for that. But now I think it probably is. We're going to probably put that as a part of the members only stream. So if you want to scan, I'm not right now. I should be shorting right now. But we're going to get to the TA in a minute, and then we'll start with Bitcoin, and we'll see if I find a position that I want to get into right now, right? And while I'm at that thought, let's go to the Discord, and let me stream the book map in case anybody wants to look at it, because I'll be referring to it as we're streaming. And I made a new tab. So everybody knows I made a new tab in the Discord, and it is just about some information that we found about Bookmap, like what Bookmap actually shows and what Bookmap maybe isn't showing. So I think you might find that interesting. Maybe we'll add to it. You can type in it. It's not one of those ones where you can't put anything in it. So you could tell us how you feel about Bookmap. I'm not selling Bookmap or anything like that. I don't have an affiliate link with Bookmap. I just think it's a nice tool. So 978.2 million total supply. Let's see, circulating supply 90. Yeah, it's 100% vested. So I saved myself from having to say it all over again. It is 100% vested. So you're not looking for a lot of tokens to come out. This is typical meme coin stuff, right? Which is good because they can't just dump a bunch of coins out in circulation. Meme coins don't have the economics where they need to keep tokens back and issue them out like a lot of real serious projects do, right? This is a meme coin. Doesn't mean it can't do well. It's a pump.fun ecosystem coin. But let's flip it. Oh, well, yeah, the last 7 days go the same. Last 24 hours has been a little choppy. That's pretty much all of this top action right here. Now, let's go ahead and jump over to the trading view, and take a look at BTC. I had pulled the fib here in the range. We had this wick down to, what is very close to the 0.5. And we had this head and shoulders here. I saw this head and shoulder, and I was busy doing other things, and we did get the play. I was hoping that maybe we were going to just still go up was kind of not the best play in my opinion. But sometimes when you're busy and you're running around, you don't have the time to like constantly switch your position back and forth. A lot of times that just chops me up. And so I just stuck long to see if anything could happen. At one point here, you know, it looked like we were going to maybe get a pump. Got back above the 1 minute 200. Didn't really go well from there. And on the 1 hour here, can we put this in some kind of falling wedge or channel? We'll probably keep adjusting this as we go, right? Are we getting something like this? Would have quite the measured move. Oh, there is quite a few of liquidity hanging out at 80,000. That would take you to 82,850. We're already kind of parabolic running here, so let's put that out. Bang. I think I'd pull it a little more like that. So let's see what we can do. I'm going to get rid of the fib. The fib always kind of makes it look really messy. And you can see that head and shoulder did play out. And let's drop it down to the 15 minute. So on the 15 minute, still chopping in these channels. And we've kind of constantly did that, right? So we kind of chopped around in this channel. TradingView froze. I don't like that. Why is TradingView freezing on me? Okay, now it's working. So you had this area we chopped around, this area we chopped around. We started last night at this choppy area down here, and then we had this choppy area, and then it just ripped, right? And I was posting it in the Discord tab where Bankroll hangs out. It's kind of his tab. And there you go. And now we're kind of doing the same kind of choppy, channel here, but on a much bigger time scale, right? Not too far. That wick didn't go too far from the 200 on the 15. But let's come down into more. If we're looking for a potential trade, we're getting a little bit of a flag here on the 5. Might as well hop down to the 3. But we are under the 200. And bullish patterns tend to play out a lot less. That looks more like a symmetrical triangle, so it could go either way. And I guess if I was going to short here, I would want to just keep my stop above the 3 minute 200. Let's see where the 1 minute 200's at. Yeah, it's right there. So if we're going to continue to dump, that's definitely a bit of an M pattern there. Let's delete all the TA. I love to keep starting over fresh here. You get maybe another shoulder, or do you just get the M and then we dump, right? Or is it kind of a symmetrical triangle that's going to break to the upside? First, foremost, for anything bullish, I'd probably be chilling right here above the 200 on the 1 minute. It does look very head and shoulder-ish. Kind of seeing this idea could happen. I am tempted to take a short here. Let's roll back up to the hour and take a look at the VRVP. All right, I don't hate this. So you can see the high volume node really for all the liquidity is this here in this region, right? And we really boomed up very fast. When you see these large gaps in the VRVP, those are areas you can move through very fast. So if we fall down and we lose this area here, I really should just use a straight line. Let's do that. Let's use a straight line. If you lose that area there, there's a good chance you're falling down to maybe the 1 hour or the 15 minute 200, right? And two shorts, Ethan sold, just closed them for gains, and now I'm re-entering. Clams has me trading ETH. I really like the guys in the Bankroll TA. Yeah, that's such a solid group. I've had a ton of fun lately talking to Clams, of course Camsta, talking to Green Fingers, and Still Nasty, just talking to everybody in there. It's really nice. Those are definitely like the core trading group of the Discord. So if you like hearing what everybody's doing, because they're trading, but they're talking also about meme coins that potentially could have big pumps and stuff like that. They're doing a little bit more than just trading, but they are very, very trading focused. So if you want to join a small community of people who are banging it out, they're connected to many bigger communities, right? So they're really aggregating a ton of information and putting it in there, and it's not too oversaturated with random people just saying random stuff. So I think it's a good fit for a lot of people who kind of want to dip their toes into maybe trying out some trading or just seeing how traders do it, because Bankroll does a pretty fantastic job, I gotta say that. So our measured move here to the upside is 82,815. The real question though is like, how long do we chop out here, right? Do we chop for a really long period of time? And that measured move is way more like down here. The thing is, if we start losing this trend line here, which I'm going to throw an alert on, I love my alerts. If we start losing that trend line, did not mean to move it, then there's high chance that you're at least coming down to the 15 and then the 1 hour 200, right? That's how we like to watch it. Let's go ahead and get our RSI a little more dialed in there. Not really divergence bearish quite yet. Not really bullish quite yet. Not on the 1 hour. Let's go to the 15. Right? So if I was going to long, I would probably throw my stop. I'd probably throw my stop down here to say 76. Now, the liquidity says the brightest, closest liquidity is at 80,000. As of yesterday, we had some really high liquidity, much lower. It seems like it's really dried up. 70,000 has 674 BTC on my heat map here. Again, I am streaming that in the voice channel of the Discord. For anybody who's new here, just know we have a voice channel in the Discord where people can powwow, hang out, talk to each other like a big group phone call. I hop in there, especially when I see there's people in there, and I say what's up. So if you want to talk to me that way, it's a good way to talk to me. If you feel like you have a question, I never give financial advice. Don't ask me what to do with your portfolio. I can only really explain things through the lens of what I would do if I was in certain situations. So there's some liquidity at 77,000. What is that? It's like 665 BTC. And there's only 435 BTC at 80,000, but it's much brighter red. And again, we could refer to the tab I just made in the Discord about Bookmap. Maybe we'll do that later, right? About what Bookmap is actually showing you. It's $20 a month to really get a little bit more insight into where some of the liquidity is, and that can be very helpful when you're trading. All right, now let's come down into a smaller time frame. Evaluating BTC can take some time. Again, I see this small flag here. It's looking a little bit less like an ascending triangle to me right now, but still gives me that ascending triangle vibe. Definitely gives me that M vibe. But if this was gonna run, let's take a full measured move, right? Don't cheat yourself on your measured move. You could get up to about 79,283. So I feel like there's a really big bearish scenario and then kind of a small right here, right now, bullish scenario. We have a large bullish scenario like on the hour, the 15 minute. Then we have this potential little flag here, got the 21 kind of holding it up, but it's under the 200. I give a lot less stock. Got that lifer vision from following the lifer for so many years. I got the lifer vision telling me if you were going to pump, it would be maybe out of this little thing, but being under the 200-day moving average, there's a good chance that this just rolls over. It doesn't really play out. And if you look at our channel that we've made, and as you drop down lower in time frames, you're going to kind of keep fixing your channel, right? Because where candles wick and where they end are going to be different on different time frames, especially you go to the 1 minute. Anyways, you can see you had this pretty big dip out of the range there, out of the channel, and it looks like it could have really grabbed liquidity. Maybe there was a lot of liquidity hiding out under here. And this is we were talking yesterday about cascading, orders. So when this starts to dip and it starts to sell, and then more sell, and then, more people start selling, triggers more liquidations or, stop losses. Because stop losses are orders on the order book. They are points of liquidity. Think about this. A stop loss is you're agreeing that you would sell your position for less than what it was, right? For less than what you bought. So if I bought $500 worth of a position and I said, I'm willing to sell this position for $400, well, there you go. I just noticed something with my camera. Nobody told me that. All right, so we want it like that. There we go. That green screen in the background. Nobody even noticed, hopefully. All right, and it does look like it's imming. By the way, just because I drew this little flag, and the flag even looked symmetrical, you're losing the 21. Good chance you're coming down here. One thing I haven't looked at yet is the 4 hour, 1 hour, and 15-minute RSI. 4 hours high pointed down. 1 hour is low pointed up. So especially when you first start trading, this can be really confusing because you're like, okay, the big 4 hour, right? If you're trading more like right here, right now, you're not trading the daily per se. The 4 hour is kind of like the highest time frame that I look at when I'm looking for a trade to take in a relatively short period of time. Could be a couple of hours, you know what I'm saying. So it's the 4 hours looking like it could come down, but the 1 hour wants to come up. And if you go to the 4 hour, you'll see that we were in about the same place right here. And I will delete that so you can see. So we came up, we started to come down. Well, that was ugly. So we came up, we started to come down, and then we popped back up. And look where you were at those times. So right about here, right, is right about here. Those line up. And then this little leg right here where it pumped back up is all of this price action from like 75,700 to 79,424. You get what I'm getting at here? But it does look like an M pattern, right? Definitely looks like an M on the stochastic RSI. Then the top one is the RSI. Sometimes I don't go over what everything is 100 times, but if anybody's newer here and they don't understand what I'm saying, feel free to ask away. And I still don't love this camera. All right, it's like sideways. All right. So the 1 hour looks like it's got legs to punch up. So what do I always look for if I want to be real technical with it? I'm going to go to the 1 minute and I'm going to wait for it to break above the 200 and then flag out. Now, what are the chances that you don't get that? Kind of head and shoulder-ish within that pattern, right? Do we maybe... That looks pretty... Yeah, we could fix our channel there. And I just wouldn't be surprised if this pumped. We've been really bullish, so I'm just like a little bit hesitant to short right now. Sam a lot of times talks about, the lifer talks about not shorting in a bull run. Stick to your bull narrative. If it's going to drop, let it drop. Wait for a reversal and just trade one way. That's what he likes to do. Doesn't mean everybody has to do that, but you know, he's kind of really good at trading, and we watch him make thousands and thousands of dollars all the time. So I don't like to ever really go against what he says. He's got 20 plus years in markets, and I have about 4, if I'm being generous, probably something close to 4. Anyways, I haven't really made up my mind what I want to do here. A part of me is just like, wait for this to jump up, flag out, 21 come up into price action and enter somewhere there. If I was going to short though, it would be stop loss up here, right above that, those 2 wicks, and then just let it ride. But I don't really feel like getting chopped up. All right, on to other things here. What do we want to take a look at? Somebody mentioned hype. I don't know if they're still here. Plague Dog's in the building. Sorry I missed that. Teresa Young, are you still here? we might have took a little bit of time to get to what you were saying. I probably should have gone straight to it. Should hype reach for liquidity around 36.5? Let's pull up hype. Let's take a look at hype. I'm sure I have it, but it's always easier if I just type it in and go from there. All exchanges. No, we want centralized exchanges. That helps narrow it down. I like Binance Spot. Yeah, there we go. For a lot of my charts. All right, and here's hype. Didn't mean to put that line. Let's go. So let's go up to a higher time frame, like the 4-hour. Pull down. Let's see what's been going on. I guess we have to add the VRVP to like every chart. I don't know what that's about. Hit it, settings, right? Go to inputs, row size, slap a 0 on the end of that, and you get a much prettier looking VRVP. The other thing is I like to change the pink to white, and then it matches my candles, and that just makes me feel good, if you know what I'm saying. All right. Nice trend line here. We haven't looked at hype a lot recently, right? Let's see if we can get this to look a lot nicer. So then you have, 2 touches there, probably 3 touches there, and 1 almost perfect touch there. On a high time frame, we're going to have to keep adjusting this trend line as we go down. That's probably a little better. Now, one thing that strikes me is a giant M for sure. And if it continues, maybe another shoulder to our shoulder, head, and shoulder, which is usually a reversal pattern in general, right? So that would send you down to the downside. Let's take a measured move for our head and shoulders. That trend line we already drew would serve as our neckline, right? So that would be your measured move. And look, it brings you perfectly down to this high volume node. Now, BTC looks a lot like this, in my opinion. Let's hop over to the 4-hour BTC and set it up so we can actually see what we're talking about. Not exactly the same, obviously. It's a different asset, but look at this trend line. And you could kind of say shoulder, head, shoulder maybe. And we're not feeding it enough information, right? And you would see that you have, it's a little bit bigger area, but you have this big high volume node, right? And then if you did take that shoulder, head, and shoulder and give it a measured move, if this is a shoulder, head, and shoulder, it's a very complex shoulder, head, and shoulder, right? Not quite all the way down, but definitely to this first area here, right? And that is 70,800. And on the bigger time frame here, we have a big chunk of liquidity at 70,000, right? So to get from 70,800 to 70,000, not that crazy of a jump, in my opinion, while we're speculating. So definitely something to keep in mind. One thing I kind of really just saw here is the short might be best when you break the trend line. And we can put an alert on the trend line, right? You can put alerts on pretty much any line that you want. You can't put an alert on a parabola. Like when you make one of these, it will not let you put an alert on it, which is kind of lame. I should be able to put an alert on whatever I want. Somebody write into TradingView, let them know. So let's go down then. So that's kind of the big macro feel I got, and just how close that measured move for a head and shoulder, or, I guess an M pattern would be a little different, right? That would bring you much farther down. But just getting this bounce here makes me feel like maybe you'll get a little bit more of a head and shoulder. And if you get that bounce, then you're probably going to have this M here as well, right? Or a double top, and M is a double top. There's a lot of language out there in the trading world that really all says the same stuff. Now, a whole other idea, not so bearish, would be to grab this and kind of make it a flag, right? And you could be bouncing off this trend line, coming up here, maybe start getting tight before you finally get the pump out of here. Really, it's all about BTC. What is BTC gonna do? Let's check out this chat. It says, looks like a possible long for hype. I can add alerts on weeks, which is cool. I couldn't do that on MEXC. Got to start using them. Camps, I hope you used my link for weeks. When we break that trend line, we going back to 40K. Okay. It says on BTC. I mean, yeah, it could be. I wouldn't guarantee that necessarily. When you take away some of those far out candles, your biggest node still is down here, but you have a big wealth of liquidity history at 71,000, pretty much flat. Back to hype. Let's go to the 15. 15 coming up. That was 30 minute. Yeah, 15 coming up to interact with the 200-day moving average. 21 coming up into price action. Technically, you're above the 200, but barely above. Definitely cat ears, right? Definitely cat ear vibe there. So I don't know if you're going to hold that 15. Definitely see the cat ears even more on the 5, but you are above the 200 with the 21 in price action. Let's go to the 1 minute. Same thing, not all that different. Cat ears doesn't look as clear, looks a lot more choppy at that point. So yeah, that's really hype for you. See if we can put this in a flag of some sorts. I mean, if you want to just evade this fake out breakout here. Big measured move though. If this thing did break out, it has a very large measured move. No, grab the line. There we go. And we could definitely probably adjust this. But look, it's kind of getting rejected off of that trend line. It's kind of respecting that trend line there. I mean, you have that too as a retest. I don't know how much I love that, but could definitely keep an eye on that. All right, what else do we want to look at? Maybe some SPK. Which we were just looking at yesterday, so that makes it easy. Let's go to the 4-hour chart. And the flag that we were starting to draw here, it really did bang. It matured out a little bit, right? But if you would have been following it, you would have seen that thing absolutely bang. And even more. Which is a lot of times why I have my stop loss, but I don't always have a take profit, right? Because it'll just wick really hard, really high, and I'll lose, 10% or 20% of the more gains I could have had if I would have just set a line with an alert at my take profit and then came in and watched, moved my stop loss, wait until we got a nice big wick, which we did get a couple. But anyway, selling for profit is selling for profit, right? So we can't be mad about that. Pay the trader. The 1 minute looking like it wants to maybe flag out here. Very decent measured move. I mean, really, you could take this whole thing as a measured move. Very little downward action. It says somewhere by like the 24th of April, you could be at a very high 5 cents, 0.0578. So that's on the radar. And if you were to set that up, you're not too far away from the 21 and you're not too far away from the 200 either. Of course, everything relies on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin starts dropping like a rock, then Yeah, you're not going to get it. Let's see. Where's our 3-to-1? It's about here. I'd really like to hide my stop loss under the 200, but if you do that, you can see you only get a 1.25. That's not amazing by any stretch of the imagination. You kind of had this support and resistance line here. That's still only a 1.7. I like to get a 3.1 or better. If you tuck it up under there, hide it under the 21 per se, you could get a 3.7. And then let's take a look at our percentage here. And it didn't do it. So that'd be a 47.4% gain. Throw a little 10x on it, 470% gain. I don't think that's going too crazy with the leverage. That might be a nice trade. But I would be hyper focused on what BTC is doing if I was doing that. And let's see, where is BTC right now? We were monitoring it for that potential get above the 200. It hasn't done it yet. Looks like that M pattern did play out. M pattern did not have the craziest measured move, but it definitely took that and then some, and then popped right back up. Kind of look at it more as just in the overall channel there for BTC. Gotta start using them. Yeah, when we break the trend line, we go into 40K. Oh yeah, cat ears, forget about it. Yeah, there you go. So getting a little V-shaped recovery, very dialed in on the 1 minute. Is that kind of back in the pattern? Is that your dolphin? I've noticed so many dolphin dips before the big move up, right? So we have a pattern or a channel or whatever, and almost every time last night before we got the big move, we absolutely dolphin dipped out of it. And let's see, let me point you to some of them here. Let's go to the 3. So like you had it here, you had it here, you had it here for sure, and you had it here. So look at this. This is really interesting. Let's move kind of through last night's BTC price action. Right, you had this channel that was going, bang. This channel that was going. And then you had this big dolphin dip here. Let's back that up so we can easily show it. So you have this big dolphin dip, and then price ran, right? Then we pumped, we flagged out above the 3 minute 200, 21 came close, bang, right? Then we had this channel, right? What did it do? Or flag, what did it do? Big dolphin dip, ran up. Then we pumped. And then you had this here. And it's an inverted head and shoulder for sure. I guess you didn't have the craziest dolphin dip out of there. At the time, I was probably charting it something more like this before we got the big pump out, or the big dip and then pump, right? So that one maybe not as much, right? But it happens, guys. It definitely happens where you get the big dip. This just kind of chopped in this channel until it finally broke out. Anyways, is that what we're seeing here? Was this kind of the big dolphin dip before we ran? Or before we do run? And then, of course, here we were trying to draw a channel. Although I think that was just an M pattern, to be 100%. We drew this a couple of times, this big M. All right, anybody have any other coins they want me to go over? Otherwise, I'm just going to pick from the list of things that are very relevant here, like Asteroid. How's Asteroid doing in this channel that we put? Still building. This is on the 1 hour. So definitely plenty of room there. Very nice measured move. I'm not really into TA trading high risk meme coins, but you could do it if you wanted to do it. And let's see what kind of trade we get here. For me personally, this is what I'm really trying to do a lot better, is my risk to reward ratio, right? Because I get trading the first couple trades, I do it, and then I kind of throw it out the window. I'm in the 1 minute trading this tiny little pattern, that little, and I'm just not doing that anymore. As a trader, I've just learned that just eats you up. I see when I do this kind of bigger macro trades, whether it's a 15-hour or the 5, and I set it up and I look at it and I make sure I have good risk management, my portfolio does pretty well. And then I can win a couple of trades or win a nice trade, and then I get confident, and then I'm in the 1 minute looking for every little tiny thing, and that's when I just ruin it. So I want to try to avoid that and not go that path anymore. I even caught myself the other day starting to do it, and I was like, I'm done with that. Anyways, as of right here, and we're starting to get tight, you'd have 114% to the measured move. I don't even want to read you what that number is because it's a lot of zeros. You got 0.5 retracements here. Now that you've moved up, I don't really know about no 786 retracement. If BTC completely falls down, you probably get a 786 retracement. How we doing on the 1 minute here for BTC? Anybody got anything they want me to go over while I'm here? One person had said oil, but it doesn't seem like they stuck around long enough for us to get to TA. They were maybe impatient. What else is on the radar here? Aave? Let's take a look at Aave. And let's throw it on the 4 hour. Let's get rid of this fib retracement there. Is it shoulder, head, and shoulder? If so, let's take a measured move for that shoulder, head, and shoulder. That would get you back above the 400, 200. I guess that might be your bullish scenario, but what seems to be the most obvious here is this. Right, and that would say you're going lower with a big measured move to the downside, right? That flag never filled out. Remember, we project flags. You start drawing them, and then you got to watch them. I'm not actively chasing trades on these coins, so you'll see a lot of times I'll project a flag, and then we'll come back, and it just didn't even do it. I mean, this one hit, though. That one was pretty perfect. I mean, those measured moves slap so often that it's really kind of wild how accurate those measured moves are. To me, I mean, it could say even potentially Aave down to $62. Now, again, this dump was born out of some problems they were having and money being lost. With that scenario, you could get a bounce back. If they say, hey, we fixed everything, we unfroze people's money. NW, our resident airdrop man, was in here, and he said he got caught up in a lot of this stuff and that he had money locked. He said it was 7 figures he had locked up inside Aave right now. He can't move it. He can't do anything. It's locked because of the problems they were having. So the longer they take to resolve that, the more people are going to be a little nervous. But how many people can't sell right now because their stuff is locked? That's another thing to say. Let's go over to ETH. I posted this the other day, mostly for Blues Guy. He was asking me about levels, right? These levels are pulled from all back in this region here. Otherwise, you don't have a ton of wealth. Then you moved very quickly up, right? I mean, your next real set of levels above that is all this stuff in here. But until you really break these, not worried about it. Until you run up and get above the daily 200-day moving average, I'm not really all that stressed about it. And then, of course, that cup and handle, it hit a lot of that cup and handle, right? Are you getting like this big shoulder, head, and then you kind of need like another big shoulder to make an inverted head and shoulder. Right now, it's got that double bottom vibe, although it's certainly far from perfect, right? Kind of a slanted double bottom. Again, a flag that is outside, or under, I should say, under the 200 moving average on any time frame, I'm not very bullish on. So I'm not going to speculate hard on that one. Let's go to the 4 hour. Nothing really jumps out at me there other than you're above the 4 hour 200, which is solid. I love to see that. I hold some ETH. Probably still eventually will get the rest of that measured move. Take a look at what's going on for ETH. Kamsta said he was trading ETH. Kind of messy charts here. Let's see if we think there's any trade. It's following BTC, right? Like this is what BTC is doing. 5. Losing its 500 or 5 minute 200 daily moving average. I was absolutely messing that all up. Let's go to the 1 minute. And you're just being hung again. I wouldn't do anything bullish as far as trading ETH. And we today, you know, it's Wednesday, but we're going into Thursday. Thursday, anything after say noon, liquidity dries up and crazy stuff can happen. It could be to your favor. It could also really destroy you. Weekend trading around times where there is a lot of hype can be pretty profitable, can be pretty good, but during the boring times or, you know, scary times, unless you're shorting, a lot of times it's chop. It's big moves up, big moves down, big moves up, big moves down, and it just chops and eats every bit of liquidity, and it doesn't leave much for much people. Right now we have liquidity down to 77,000 and we have liquidity at 80,000. 80,000 is a much bigger chunk, but they're both about the same color as far as how deep red they are. It's like a 1 minute double bottom. I don't get too into 1 minute tiny patterns. So this is where the trader in me 2 years ago would have totally wrecked himself, right? And maybe that would play out to my favor, maybe it won't. But I'd look at that and be, oh, a little double bottom, maybe it's gonna make an inverted head and shoulder, and then I would get in it and it would just roll over and do nothing. When I look at patterns on the 1 minute, they gotta be big patterns, right, that you could also see on a higher time frame. That's how I feel about it. You do what you want to do. All right, I don't see many people saying many things here. I do wonder where the blues guy is at. So let's go look at a couple other things. The two meme coins that really were sticking out to us right now were Make Aliens Great Again, right? Which does look like it's ran up and it's starting to kind of head and shoulder or just roll over, maybe start to do a fib retracement, like something of that. My hold in it is more for the long term. I'd like to see where it is in 2 months from now, 3 months from now. So I'm just chilling. You know, if it comes back and it drops to like a 786 or something, I might throw another $10, $15 in it, right? Or just double up. The other one that we bought was this printer guy. Now, we bought it because it actually has its own launchpad that even AI agents are allowed to connect to and use. That seems pretty cool. That seems pretty bullish. It also very much seems like they have some grit to them, like they did something. Now, so far, this falling wedge has really delivered absolutely nothing. Let's see. Can we get anything here? Either way, on a absolutely tiny coin like this, you know, what does it even matter? You did get a big breakout. I don't know where we bought it. We bought it somewhere over in here, maybe. It's pretty low. It's been higher, it's been lower, it's been higher, it's been lower. But this is the 1 minute chart, right? Let's go to the 5 minute chart. It kind of gives inverted head and shoulder vibes. Again, TA on these tiny coins could mean something. It could mean absolutely nothing, because there's just a lot more variables when it comes to people's fear, when it comes to, you know, what people are doing, what people are saying. It can really vary a lot. But you are just really trending that 786, which is one of my favorite places to buy stuff. So I hope my buy was closer to the 786. And I don't even know where my buy was at. But we could open Soul Flare, and I could look to see. Yeah, okay. So what did I buy? I bought $25 worth. It is now worth $10.50. It's kind of the story of my life with a lot of these meme coins, so I don't go around chasing meme coins, but I did it for the community. Melissa, who is a huge supporter of the channel, she's always looking for cool stuff. She found this, and so I just wanted to do something fun for the channel. We bought some, and who knows, and 2 months from now or a month from now, this might be a top gainer. It might do something crazy. If you can't handle it when it's not doing something amazing, probably not going to be able to handle it when it is doing something amazing. And it feels like a Wednesday. Very low engagement out here. What's going on, guys? Not engagement as far as like commenting. Camps is holding it down. Just where are my people at? That's what I'm saying. I'm actually going to kind of hold off on the IQ raising event a little bit and see if we can't get a few more people in here. Got to reload weeks. All right, so the BTC just pumped up to the 200, very much looking like it's getting rejected. $15-minute was starting to do something. Now it's kind of rolling over. 1 hour's on the floor. Big wick. There we go. Yep, 1 minute for some downward action, very potentially. Rejection there. Very trend line-ish. Trend line rejection, really, you know, loading up, lining up with the 200. Let's restart that music up, see if we can bring some of the enthusiasm up. Feeling a lot like a Wednesday. What's this music's name? This is Hold On by DYE space O, or Dio, but it's DYE space O. I'm sure you can find it anywhere, right? It's soft house is the category. Yeah, and it's called Holding On. Holding On is the name of the track. I'm sure you could find it on YouTube or something. Now, a lot of times before we break through the 200, we do come just kind of knock on the door a bunch of times, right? So big swing up, kind of get rejected. 21 comes up, then we get a bounce. I am leaning more long. I don't know why. That's just my bias right here. No, before this. Oh. I'm really sorry. Addy, man, I couldn't tell you. Because I just went in. It was playing through my playlist. You know, it was just going through the playlist. And then I went in and clicked on this one because it's kind of a crowd favorite. And I don't know what it was on. Sorry about that. If it ever comes on again, ask me and I'll go look at it. But you caught me at a really odd time. I just went and switched it, and I have no idea where we were in the playlist. I didn't know anybody was going to ask. I don't really feel like front running right now. Let's go look at the liquidation map for BTC. So I think we really need to incorporate those. And I want to see how much they line up, right? I want to see how much they line up with Bookmap. All right, some buy orders coming in. Still a lower high, though. Definitely still a lower high. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit there. And you got a high liquidity point, 193. Remember, this is liquidation, right? 197.3 million at 79,800. At that point, you're probably going to 80. Probably go right through it. A lot of times when it hits these high volume points, it like wicks heavy through it. Like here, it hit them and then triggered a lot of liquidation. So you have another one on the other side at $77,333 for 197.8. So you have very, very similar numbers. So 197 and 197, the point's a little different. There's slightly more at this bottom one. Let's go look at the 48 hour instead of the 24. Wow, that'll show you a lot. And get real dialed in here. I'd have to say that to the downside has a lot more going on. Yeah, as you kind of scroll through that, 147, 184, 119, 115, come down, then you have another 108, 153, a bunch of small numbers to get down to this other one's at 164. If we are going higher, I would not be surprised if it just kind of ate through some of this lower stuff and then went higher. Over time, of course, not quickly. Large buy just came in on the Bookmap. It's okay, bro. Yeah, if you ever hear it again, just ask me. Sorry about that. All right, let's take a look at chainers. Just messing around. I'm used to having a lot more people here. I was kind of holding off. Sometimes people roll in a little later, waiting for my blues guy and stuff like that to come in. And then we come over here and we're going to sell whatever we got into BNB. We're just slowly grinding up a little bit of BNB. It's all free to me. If you like chainers, it's in the description. I don't get anything as far as it's an affiliate link, but I only get anything if you go to the shop and you buy something in the shop. That's the only way I get any money off of it. So it's more like just a quick link to get you to chainers. I don't know why people get so irate if they think that you're making something off of them joining, but I literally haven't put any money into this. I'm just playing it for free. If I toggle my wallet here, you'll see I have 0.0009. Looking to flip that zero here soon, BNB. But again, I've gotten it all for free. See if the Atom Caster has a free item for the farm. We do play this all the time. And again, when it's a little slow, I go ahead and I kind of go into chill mode a little bit until we get another pop and people run in. Streaming 4.5 hours yesterday, definitely had people running in and out and in and out. We had high volume times. It was really interesting to watch. There we go. Oh, and our durability's all the way back up. I love that. Let's go ahead and grab a lure from the shop here. Looks like I'll unlock a new lure when we level up, which is pretty cool. This is costing me 8 cents, so I spent 16 cents on some lures. And the lures, the point of them is they have NFTs that you can catch. Obviously, they're fish NFTs that you catch. And you don't catch them unless you have a lure. So if I toggle my wallet here, you'll see all the NFTs. Smallmouth bass, largemouth, spotted bass, white bass, yellow perch. And then you kind of have a book where you keep track of them all the different species, and you have to mint them, right? So you kind of go here. Let's see, do we have anything to mint? I don't think so. Usually it tells you, hits like a little notification when you catch something, and then it keeps it up there until you see it. Kind of click out of it. Don't really see anything that we need to mint on chain there. Oops, I didn't mean to end it like that. Bang. Hitting some uncommon, some bowfin, some long-nosed gar, alligator gar, which is a minor miracle, it says. So that's worth a little bit more. I don't know if there'll ever be like a place to sell these. White bass, peacock bass, another minor miracle, so that's a better one. Haven't caught any crazy legendary fish. But it's basically just mining this fish token. Let's see. They're coming in a lot faster now. 285,000 plus my 227,000. Well over 500,000. But if you go look at it, let's see how much they're worth right now. Where is the exchange? Valiant. There we go. Valiant exchange. And let's flip this USDC, switch this to fish, which I have pinned. Let's say we have 500,000 of them. It's worth about $9.13. We're obviously looking for this to pump up a little bit, right? The value of fish it overall. Hit a round of Panzer Dogs. Just take a minute to rest our brain before we go into the IQ raising event, which I'm going to do regardless of who's here. That's my own due diligence, right? Oh, when I first started the stream, a lot of it was to keep me making sure I'm doing, you know, at least minimum an hour of deep diving and researching crypto every day. And it turned into 2 hours. Yesterday was 4.5 hours. Let's pop back to BCC. Okay, we got the pop above the 200. Again, I had the feeling. I definitely had the feeling that we were going to get back above that 200. But a lot of times we get the fake out breakout, right? A lot of times we get above it and come right back down. Much bigger liquidity, up to 80,000. But now we're kind of looking for the flag, right? What do we got going on here? Maybe the beginning of a very small trend line. Maybe something like that. I'm not really crazy about that, so let's get rid of that. And the hope is the part you try to do the right thing and the patience, wait for a flag, the 21 to come up into price action, all of that jazz, right? And then it just rips on you. But even if it rips on you, right? Like even if we're here and it does something like this, well, that's the wrong tool. All right, drawing tool. And say it did just rip up, right? And you're like, dang, it's probably gonna flag out at some point and give you an entry. Doing my best not to chase. Being a trader is very frustrating because a lot of times, like, you have your rules, you know your rules, you start off good, you follow those rules, and somewhere along the way you get, you know, revenge trading, start chasing because it's hot, like, and you just start wrecking yourself. So I want to do the right thing on a Wednesday night and not just hop in. See, a lot of times I would have been like, oh, we're pumping, hop in, throw a stop loss down, say here. I would have thrown a stop loss there, right below it, probably a little bit lower. And right now, given the circumstances, there's a good chance that comes down and hits that, even if it gets back above the 200. Waiting for the 21 to cross the 200 moving average. Let me dial in on Bookmap a little bit more. Okay, that is too dialed in on Bookmap. Yeah, we got it's just really holding us in one little tight spot. We have pretty much equal liquidity on both sides, like really dialed in, like 78,600 to like 78,000, right? So 600 up here to like down to 78,000 down here. It's very close. 21's coming up. I don't like taking the trade though, like when you're right on the 200, because it doesn't take much to dip you down. Although you could put an extremely tight stop loss in here. Let's see what that would look like. 78,240. Start to build the scenario. But I don't have my risk reward ratio measured out. Like, that's another big part here. See, I'd get in here and try a little thing. It could work out, it could not work out, but it's not my risk reward ratio, right? It's not a pattern that I'm trading. I'm just like, oh, we're getting above the 200. Those are the impulses that I really want to get away from. We'd be slightly up if we were doing that right now. And I do trust the 200 a lot if we're bullish to hold us up. But that doesn't mean you don't wick down through it. 78,179. Get you down a little bit lower. That would lose me 80 cents, but here it comes. Here's where they're going to dump us. And again, I just pointed out right where I would have put my stop. Sometimes, I don't know if anybody else does this, sometimes set up your trade and then even put a horizontal line where you would have put your stop. Like I have it at 78,179, right? So let's put it there at 177, close enough. And let's watch. Would I have lost another 80 cents? Again, my account that I'm trading with is only like, well, that's not true. I don't know why it says 20 bucks. Oh, because I got stopped out for $3. Yeah. I started with $20. I'm at $19.56. It's been as high as like $25.50 or something like that. And if I can't do right with this little bit amount of money, I don't have any business doing anything else. I can do pretty well when it comes to doing the TA and understanding a lot of that stuff, but it's my own risk management that eats me alive. Like I said, I do well at first, and then I throw the risk management out the window once I win a couple of trades. I think I have a little bit of capital. And then I totally wreck myself. And again, I could dial this back to say 50%. Then I'm only risking 40 cents. But what I'm really looking for here is a little bit of a pop up, break some of these previous candles here, which would be like this, that. Break up into that area and then flag out and then try to take it. And it's tight because right here you got the 21 crossing at 200 looking like it wants to go. Very enticing, very much like you want to get in there. Again, 78,249. Very like, when I'm watching on Bookmap, it's like buy, sell orders coming in pretty much one after the other. Some buy, some, mostly the biggest one is a sell. If I had to bet, this thing's about to pop up, but yeah, there it starts to go. And it didn't really get the follow through. Is it setting up a shoulder, head, and shoulder? Don't know. All right, let's do our airdrop stuff. Right now, we're mostly chasing a Robinhood testnet airdrop. Well, we want real coins, right? Says I'm an hour early here. Did it a little later in the stream yesterday, but that's okay because I don't really need the faucet tokens to do what I want to do here. So this is on-chain GM. You come over, you hit testnet. Robinhood is what we're doing. You can only on-chain or GM, on-chain transaction here. You're just creating transactions. That's really the whole point of it. Let that run through. Bang, you see that it happened. You don't necessarily see my... Okay, there we go. And then deploy a smart contract. It just says deploy on Robinhood, but it's a smart contract that you're deploying do that about 3 times has been our go-to. So 1, 2, 3. Also, it's getting late on a Wednesday night. We pumped really good late last night, though, so it doesn't mean it can't happen. But are we going to really see a lot of like volatility, a lot of volume come in? That I don't know. Then we go to this swap over here, and we create some swaps. We want to switch it to the Robinhood testnet. Put in a number that makes sense. Go ahead, copy that, so I don't have to put it in every time. Select the token like USDC, and get to swapping. Do that like 2-3 times. Just want to create, a wealth of transactions that they can reward us for doing. Anybody running in, smash that like button for me and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. We're looking at that Robinhood testnet action here, hoping for an airdrop. We're going to be consistent about it. We do it on the live stream pretty much every day. And hopefully, in a little less than a year's time, we'll see something for it. The other one that we're doing is the ARC testnet, and that is by Circle, right? Who pretty much owns USDC as far as I understand. So we'll pop back here to on-chain GM, check on the trade for a half a second. Yep, came down. Glad that I didn't enter it. I'd already be stopped out. And hit that ARC testnet. Here, I don't even need to change it. Once I click it, it'll automatically change in MetaMask. And we'll on-chain GM there. We will deploy the smart contract 3 times. I don't know how many is too many, but I know 3 makes sense to me. 1, 2, and 3. Then we come back to the swap, switch it to the ARC testnet. And again, you get the coins. Testnet coins are not really valuable. They're in a testnet. You can't really use them outside of that. We've been doing the Euro coin. So we're not spending any real money here. One, and then we'll do it 2 more times. 2. Just about daily diligence to make sure that you're just consistent. Consistency wins. I could sit here one day and do this for like an hour, or I could just consistently hit it over time. I don't know which one they would reward you more for. A lot of transactions at one time, or the steady use every day. I like to think the steady use every day would probably give you the most. Then we do have this other swap that's only for ARC. Or at least Robinhood's not on it. They have other stuff, but Robinhood's not on it as far as I know. I would double check because they could add it at any time, right? And then I just usually do it twice over here because why not? Now let's see, do they have Robinhood? No Robinhood. All right, and that is the airdrops. Can't help but see that shoulder, head, maybe shoulder there. And yeah, see, look. The first place, if I was really type stop loss, I was going to put it there. This line here, that would have got hit. And then my other one, which I would have thought was a little safer right there, that would have just got hit. And that is why I don't enter without the flag, without like a nice flag, right? Because that's pretty much looking like you're going to run back to the bottom. Now you do have shoulder, head, maybe a shoulder, right? Maybe you get like a triple bottom, double bottom. Probably more of a double bottom, just counting these two. 1, and then our projected double bottom. A lot of sell orders coming in right now, or triggered liquidations. I don't know. Bookmap has way too many settings. It can be very confusing. I mean, you could call it a cup and handle, right? A cup with your handle. And that very well may be the case. Are we going to get the strength now? Get a nice big wick up. If we do get like a crazy big wick, like I want to see it go like up here and then flag out like well above the 200, right? All right, it's time for the IQ raising event on a Wednesday, regardless of who's here. So let's talk about it. When people start building a crypto portfolio, have you ever done that? They usually don't think about structure. They think about the opportunity. What's exciting, what's moving, and what feels like it could do something. And that makes sense because crypto naturally pulls attention towards movement. And that's where things start to go wrong. Because instead of building from a foundation, people start building from the top. They start with high-risk ideas, hype-driven projects, and smaller positions with big upside. Now, I talked a lot yesterday about how, in my mind, I would set up a portfolio. And I did it by percentages because by percentages means anybody could translate that into what they want to do, right? So say we have 100% of our money. We haven't implemented any of that money. And say it doesn't matter if it's 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, or $1 million, right? I would take immediately 70,000, or sorry, I would immediately take, it was 100,000 to be 70,000, 70% of that portfolio, and I'd put it in pretty low risk stuff, right? Which could be, in my mind, the most low risk is Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and Solana. Those 4, right? You could divvy it up between them. I probably would at least go into 2 different ones, right? And again, all of this is in the perspective of trying to buy the bottom of the market. And I'll talk about that in a minute, but first let me wrap up my idea here. So now you have 70% of your funds implemented, right? Then you have 30% left. Take 20%, or I would take 20%, never financial advice, and I would take that 20% and I would buy, mid-risk stuff. So if you go to like your top 100 here, let's go back to CoinGecko and kind of take a look at it. So your very low risk stuff, I'd even put BNB, you know what I mean, in that. You could, you see, it's all kind of perspective. Would you put BNB into your very low risk stuff? Or would you kind of move it down into the mid-risk stuff? Even though it is above Solana. So I kind of would like to group these top 7 here into low risk. Now you come down, you have things like Dogecoin, Cardano, Monero, Hyperliquid, and you start to get into a lot more risk a lot faster. Like I honestly wouldn't really want to put money in Avalanche personally. Could do really well. Sui is one that I would, right? Sui, I think, has a good shot, has strong branding. A lot of people know it. Good shot to run back up to its all-time highs. So I would put Sui in that mid-risk. I'd put Dogecoin in that mid-risk. Maybe even XLM in that mid-risk, even though it's kind of in its own niche altogether. Cardano in that mid-risk. Chainlink in that mid-risk. And you could go by category. We could make this very complicated very fast by talking about how, you have Monero and your privacy coins and all of that kind of stuff, right? But just looking generally, then you have your mid-risk stuff. Then you have 10% left, right? And then you could go into what is more high risk, right? I'd even put BitTensor in more of a mid-risk area, but you could put it in high risk. Then you have high risk, right? You have things like Pepe, Aster, I wouldn't really put Aave in there. ICP, definitely. Ondo, you get what I'm saying, right? Pump.fun even. These are your high-risk coins. Now, I would put probably 8% in high risk. That seems like a lot, but it gives you maybe some potential and some exposure. And if you were going to buy 8% in the high risk, and you could mess with it, you could just put, you could leave only 5% for high risk, and then maybe a 1 to 2% for extremely high risk. But that's just the idea of a portfolio altogether. You can tweak those numbers depending on how much risk. That's more, what I just said to you is more suiting to me and what I think and what the exposure I'm looking for and my understanding of crypto doing this day in, day out. I might pick better coins than the next person. I might not. But you can tweak those numbers. If you're somebody who wants very little risk, you take your 100% and just put 90% of it in those Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, Solana, and you could even include BNB if you wanted to, because it tends to move and it's not super high risk, in my opinion, but it depends on where you live in the world. It could be more risk for you if you were in America. Anyways, just 1 to 2% in super high risky stuff. I wouldn't go more than that. And then talking about when to implement it is a totally different perspective. If you had your whole written down list of what you wanted to put stuff into, right? That doesn't mean you'd have to buy it all at one time, right? You could be like, I have my low risk, mid risk, high risk, and super high risk, right? Extremely high risk. And I already wrote down the projects I'm looking at, and then start to build positions, right? Down at that double bottom that we just did for BTC on the macro, on the big time scale, that would be definitely a place that you would have tried to load up some, because it really looked like a big double bottom. It could wind up being the bottom. But you could hold off 50% of your capital, right? You could put 50% in those different positions at that time, and then you could wait to see if maybe we get the fall down, right? Maybe you want to do 75% at that point and save 25%. And if we go to 45,000, 50,000, 45,000, 40,000, and maybe you could deploy that other 50 to 25%. That's a timing thing. So you really have to think what suits you, what your risk level is. Is it mid? Is it low? Is it extremely high? Those kind of things. So, and they build everything else around it, right? So what they're saying is a lot of people do this backwards. They come in, they buy some things that are high risk, hype driven, smaller positions with big upside, right? Hoping for that big moonshot. And they never really build any positions and things that are solid to kind of hold up their portfolio if their moonshots don't work out. So instead of structure, they end up with an imbalance. Too much exposure where uncertainty is the highest and not enough stability where it matters most. And over time, that creates pressure because now every move matters a lot more. Every drop feels heavier, right? We talk about the emotionalness of having a portfolio. It's kind of like trading. You're just swinging it over a very long period of time. And every decision feels a lot more urgent. Instead of building confidence, the portfolio creates stress and gives you, that FOMO, both positive and negative. And that is what backwards looks like. Not wrong picks necessarily, wrong order, and can be very much wrong timing. So most people start with what's exciting. Instead of starting with structure, people start with hype. What feels like opportunity pulls them in at first. Ever happened to you? High risk creates instability. If your highest risk positions are your foundation, everything built on top of it becomes very unstable. Sizing gets skewed very early. Most people often overallocate their portfolios to risk early and then try to balance it later, and then fixing it becomes extremely hard at that point. If you followed my breakdown earlier, that should make a lot of sense. So structure matters more than picking perfectly, right? And building positions matter more than buying large amounts at one time. Even good picks can underperform if the portfolio structure is off. Order definitely matters. Building from the bottom up changes everything. The more grounded approach starts with stability, core position, and then adds risk on top, and that creates balance. Fixing a backwards portfolio feels a lot harder once it's built wrong. Every adjustment feels like a correction instead of a strategy. And the core insight here is it's not what you buy, it's the order in which you buy it in. So follow the build segment. Backwards looks like this is what you don't want to do. Hype comes around, very small cap coins, high risk, and then you buy all of that stuff and then you try to stabilize your portfolio later, maybe if you have any money left, because a lot of times people get wrecked in all of that and they don't have any money left. A structured looks like a foundation. While we were talking about low risk stuff like your top 7 by market cap coins, core positions, that's around your timing, right? And then add risk later on, scale intentionally, add more to your positions intentionally. Same market, a completely different experience. And there we go. You are kind of getting that double bottomish vibe. There's a few people rolling in. What's up? Smash that like button. We were talking about portfolios tonight if you're just getting here. Let's go take a look at that Fear and Greed Index. I cannot believe we haven't looked at it yet. Fear and Greed Index is at 46. Yesterday it was at 32, so it's moving up. We're not in greed yet. We can hang out in neutral for quite some time in fear and neutral. If we could kind of slowly pump up and stay between extreme fear, so like down in fear, and then the highs and maybe beginnings of greed just in this region right here, that would be really solid. Not get any crazy pumps too early and just slowly move up over months. That would feel a lot more confident in my opinion. Let's see what that altcoin index looks like. Altcoin index actually moved down closer to Bitcoin season. I thought we would actually probably start getting to that middle there. Let's make it the top 20 and not the top 10. So of course at the top of your list here is going to be USD.AI. Now it's up 25.9%. So a little more than it was when we first looked at it. Let's check out those crypto bubbles real quick. Let's toggle it. Yeah, looks like a little bit of the pullback across the board here. One Football, High Street, USD or CHIP, USD.AI that is, kind of your biggest trenders. Then you have Base, which is decentralized exchange, Nomina that kind of falls into that, perpetual exchange as well. Piverse, which is time stamping, Core DAO, Bioprotocol Protocol, which is DeSci, decentralized science, right? Also kind of a one-of-a-kind project, and there's not a lot of good DeSci projects. Could be a wave. It could also be highly speculative and get ignored through most of any bull market that we have. Rave DAO, of course, feeling pretty cooked right now. You went as high as $26.77. Right now, you're at $1.54. If you're rolling in now, smash that like button for me. Stakestone, of course, is infrastructure. It's also DeFi, Wordy, Bitcoin DeFi, UNC, obviously a meme coin, not something I've looked at a lot. How much is it up? No, it's down 22%. And it looks like it's a very new token. And then Zama, we've been watching for a very long time, like a month before it ever token generated, came out with the token. So you get kind of the alpha here first at the Underground Crypto Deep Dive Show. Starknet, which we've messed around with quite a few games and things like that inside the Starknet. Somehow my wallet got messed up. I need to get back in there and try to fix it. I don't know if I wrote down my seed phrase in the wrong order or something, but my seed phrase wasn't restoring my wallet. Luckily, I didn't really have any money in there. It wasn't a big deal. Then you got Bless, World Computer. Think about computation and GPU and just all the resources for AI. Opinion is a prediction market coin. Aria AI was supposed to be all about some game that they built this thing around, and there's no game, so it's down a lot. Fabric Protocol AI project, more about working with real physical robots in real life on an agentic network. And then Plasma XPL, a layer 1 stablecoin infrastructure. You can build on it. Has staying power. XPL is definitely one of those ones that I wonder, do we have it in what we're looking at bear market bottom buys? Let's see, did we put that in our, yeah, we did put XPL in that original list. And we were supposed to do a lot more of going over coins that we were talking about potentially being bottom buys. And for whatever reason, it's a little slower here today, so we're probably not going to get into that. We will save it for tomorrow. Wednesday, a lot of times, it's really random what days are slow. Tuesday was popping yesterday. Wednesday's been slow. A lot of weeks it's Thursday. Some weeks it's Friday. You never know. You never know. And for whatever reason, it seems like YouTube's against me. It doesn't want to push me out to a lot of people. Don't know what that is about. Let's go back to the trade. Kind of in a do-nothing mood here because I'm not really looking for the short because you could easily get wrecked. And also at the same time, it could dump, right? It could heavily dump. Let's go to the 1 hour. 1 hour is still very low. That flag still looks pretty good, honestly. That falling channel. Get rid of all these lines and whatnot. We do not need all those lines. And when it gets choppy like this, I just like to watch the higher time frames. Looks like that head and shoulder played out perfectly. It's kind of a lot of nothing. Looks like a lot of indecision in the market. Anyways, guys, that's kind of all I got for you. I'm going to play a round of Panzer Dogs while I'm chilling. And it's going to be a short stream. Kind of pairs well. Yesterday we streamed for like over 4.5 hours, probably 4 hours and like 45 minutes if I remember correctly. It was a long stream. It was exciting. So when the streams are super exciting, they'll go on a really long time. When the price action, we're trading this, that, and the other, we have a lot of people. And when they're a little slower, I'll take the win there as well. Got a lot of things to catch up with and do with other businesses. Hit him with the rocket. Boom. Let's see, let's go get that rocket again. Oof. Did not time that rocket well at all. Ooh, got him. They're really trying to chase me down here. Dang, missed him. Let's grab some health. We're gonna need it. I feel like I'm the only one farming this rocket here. Got him. It was on fire the other day. Okay, big lags. The lag sucks because you get low health and then you don't even realize you're low health. Yo, can we get rid of this wall? There we go. Bang, back to perfect health. Can get no kills or no deaths. Give them no kills. Oh, you got me. I thought, see, the lag really messed you up. I thought I got the rocket. It's very deceiving. All right, we got to make up for that. I was almost running a perfect game right there. All right, guys. That's all I got for tonight. We ran through everything pretty well. BTC didn't really feel like it gave us a trade unless you're going to go short. And I don't really feel like shorting right now. I don't feel like watching and babying it. We did so much trading yesterday. Have a good night. As always, as I always say, stay underground, stay crypto. Join that Discord. There's a lot going on in the Discord more and more every day. And I will catch you tomorrow night, where we will continue the theme of the week, which is building portfolios and how to think about it, right? How to think around it. Underground Crypto out.